Chekhov 27, and I am your new grandmother. I will be replacing your previous grandmother, who sadly passed away after I fucked her, admittedly, way too hard. I did not hold back, and now she's dead. But know that she died with what I think was a smile on her face. I'm not quite sure. We were doing it doggy style at the time. But hey, you know what they say? God works in mysterious ways. So how about you shut your fucking mouth so we can watch a video? Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to slaughter the elderly? You ever see your grandmother walk by and say things like, "Oh, it's so nice having social security and access to free health care"? And then you think to yourself, man, my grandma is such a cunt. She thinks she's so great because she has social security and a new metal hip. You know what? I'm gonna kill that bragging bitch and use her anal cavity as a storage unit for my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But just as you get up from your seat, Grandma releases the lions, who proceed to give you gentle blowjobs, giving Grandma the perfect amount of time to make her escape with all of her social security. That crafty cunt. Granny Simulator is a fantastic early access game and the best set-aside simulator that I have been able to find. And I already know what you're thinking, but fuck you! I did Balin Wonderworld last week, so I deserve to play something good for once in my miserable fucking life! Now, I want to say something real quick. I am not looking at this as a single-player game. Yes, there is a single-player mode, but it's not worth your time. Don't fucking touch it. I swear to God, if I see any of you little fuckers playing the single-player mode, I will cut off your nipples and bake them into tortilla chips for my upcoming Super Bowl party. No! That's a bad Leroy! This is my bowl of baked nipples! So forget about the single player. The real fun is in the multiplayer. Now, let me explain my position on multiplayer games. I don't like Call of Duty, I'm not the biggest fan of Mario Party, and pretty much every battle royale can go fuck itself. But this I like. But what is this game? Well, it's pretty simple. You either play as the grandma or as the toddler. As the grandma, you have a series of objectives to complete around the house, like taking your pills, watering plants, or baking cookies. As the toddler, your goal is much simpler. Kill your grandma. That old bitch has been alive for far too long. Beat her within an inch of her miserable fucking life and then end that life. So, you get yourself a friend and switch off playing as the toddler and the grandmother. As the toddler, you are able to pick up items from around the house and pelt that bitch in the fucking head. You can use knives, bottles, and even Molotovs. Ah, my fucking face! But that's all you can do to attack as the toddler. The game doesn't have a huge amount of options in attacking that wrinkled old cunt. But that's honestly fine. The game doesn't really need more than that. A lot of the fun comes from finding the other player and using little shortcuts that only you can access. As for playing as the grandma, you have to complete your set of goals before your shit stain of a grandson can send you to the big golden corral in the sky. Now, as the grandma, you are not as spry and quick as your cum-covered grandson. But you have access to long-range weapons, like the taser and a bottle of your own urine, both of which can be used to temporarily incapacitate your grandson, giving you just enough time to kick him out the fucking window. God, I love this game. And that's the basics of the game right there. It's incredibly simple and straightforward, but it does have a few problems. For one, it was made in Unity, which is the video game equivalent of making a car entirely out of duct tape that is miraculously able to start despite having an engine that is made entirely out of solidified donkey cum. So, this game is full of bugs. You will spend a good portion of time trying to figure out how to get out of the small door that you have somehow phased into. I'm honestly surprised it even starts, but it really is a fun game, especially when playing with friends. There's even a mode in which you can have up to 8 players, but this mode is in early development, so it functions about 20% of the time. And considering that the normal game functions about 10% of the time, you're bound to run into some issues. But I promise you, it's still a lot of fun. In fact, let me tell you about a 2v1 game I played last week. I was one of 2 toddlers who were visiting their grandmother for the day. Grandma had been feeding us Oreos, and they were delicious. But we realized something. Grandma is not a kangaroo. So, where has she been storing all of these Oreos? We simply had to know. So, my brother and I did some investigative work and found that Grandma had been storing Oreos inside of her vagina. And not just a few. She was able to fit, at the very least, 2 entire rolls in what I can only describe as my grandmother's gaping vaginal crevice. So, my brother and I came to the only reasonable conclusion. It was time to kill Grandma so that we could have all the Oreos to ourselves. So, we donned our ninja costumes and began our mission. First, my brother attempted to use a Molotov cocktail to burn our grandmother alive, but I was standing too close to her and caught on fire in the process, which sent me into an epileptic seizure that lasted the rest of the round. My grandmother then took this opportunity to kick me into the bookshelf, but this is all right. Seizures pass with time, but Grandma must pass right now. So, I tasked my brother with murdering our grandmother all by himself. And so, there I laid, convulsing on the floor, pissing, shitting, and coming into my own pants, to the sound of my grandmother being beaten over the head with a soup ladle, which would later be used to scoop the remaining Oreos out of the deepest patches of her uterine wall. How do you not play this game? So, overall, what do I think? Well, it's a very simple game. There isn't any depth and there aren't a lot of different ways to play it. It's dumb fun, the video game equivalent of junk food. And I mean, look, I love Doritos. And if they happen to have a little bit of cum on them, well, that just makes them that much better. 4 out of 5. What a fucking game. Even though it's early access and I wasn't able to find anything about the developer continuing his work on it, I highly recommend it. It's only $5 and it's totally worth it. A thick and veiny thank you to the wonderful workers who have been working themselves to both the figurative and literal death in my cherry orchard. You are all absolutely amazing. Last week, our brave KGB agents found a group of questionably legal Canadian immigrants hiding inside of one of the cherries. But fear not, for the KGB promptly and without asking a single question, removed all of their tiny Canadian toes, packed them into shipping containers, and sent them back to Mexico, where they belong. The KGB and I are fully dedicated to keeping the evils of Canadian society as far away from the orchard as possible. Evils such as moose and freedom of speech. 2 things that exist only to bring about the end of my beautiful communist utopia. There is no need to thank me. I simply work for the benefit of myself.